we were shut down in March, and we made the business decision that we weren't going to charge our members if we couldn't provide them service.
Mm-hmm.
And so I owed the staff that had worked in March. I kept my manager on, paid him his salary, and that's when we ended up with $70.
$70. So what was that feeling like? Because you already knew that you weren't charging people, and payroll was coming up again. So what was that feeling?
Well, I looked at my wife, and the other thing is we had celebrated. We opened April 1st of 2019, so I got to celebrate our 1-year anniversary closed.
Wow.
And we made payroll on the 4th, and I looked at my wife and I said, "Well, that was a good run." and I'll be honest with you, I have never given up on anything, and I didn't give up there, but I really wanted to.
How did you get out of it? How did you go from $70 to forget $106,000 per month? How did you get from $70 to $20,000, enough to make payroll, enough to be able to pay your stuff?
So I had a lot of time on my hands, right, as you can imagine. And so one of the things that I looked at was what was available to small businesses. And so I became, in my opinion, a subject matter expert on the PPP program.
I think a lot did. A lot. I was a wizard. Okay, so I got it.
And one of the other challenges that I had, so we bank with a small community bank that was purchased by a larger conglomerate. And that had happened just prior to April. Mm-hmm. And so I got to meet my new business banker in the middle of this.
Wow.
And Mike was great to work with, but he was very honest with me in the sense that he said, we don't really have any idea what's going on.
None of them did. The rules were changing almost daily.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we ended up right before we needed to do payroll again. We ended up getting a PPP loan, and we took that. And we decided that we were going to go, and we were going to do what we could do. We did online classes for our people. We checked in with them daily. We were constantly in communication with them, and our members really appreciated that.
Yeah.
And we were, again, cognizant of the fact that we couldn't bring them in to be part of that community, but we kept them intact. And we ended up retaining about 40%.
Wow. That's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, a lot of people went down to honestly, a lot of people went out of business.
Right.
I think more than half of the gyms and facilities went out of business in 2020. So keeping 30%, 40% is not too bad. Obviously, it's not great, but it's not too bad. So now you guys were at 40%. Now, just so you guys know, everyone listening, everyone watching, Shaun's one of the smartest guys I've met in the space, very experienced. So we're going to get into some tactic stuff that happened even afterwards, because your doors finally opened when? When were you able to be a normal gym? Minus capacity stuff.
Sure. So we actually, again, back to sort of the government restrictions, watch those very closely. Idaho said May 1st we could open for youth sports. So we opened just for our scholastic athletes, right? Which, by the way, had been one of our challenges, honestly. We had more adults than we did kids, and we took that as an opportunity to invite those kids in. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, by the way, that the parents they had kids cooped up for over 2 months. They were ready to go.
Yeah.
And we limited our class size to 15. We had extra cleaning. I mean, we did everything right, mm-hmm. and people flocked to the gym.
That's awesome.
And so for 15 days, the kids had to run in the gym by themselves, and they loved it.
That's great. Okay, so now you're at 106,000. How does that stand in the franchise as a whole? Because D1's a franchise. So is that top 5%, top 10%, top 20%? I mean, how does that rank?
Yeah, top 5%.
Top 5%. So you're one of the guys that should be here talking. That's what we look for. So at $106,000 per month, how many members does that equate to? And what are the things that you feel have separated you from other, not just D1s, but other facilities in the world that are struggling to even, honestly, a lot of them having a hard time breaking 30 or 40,000 a month.
Sure.
Some of the really good ones are having a hard time breaking 50 to 70 a month. You're obviously at 106. So talk to me more about that.
So when we came into this, first off, a little bit about big box experience, right? So spent a lot of time in that world, and then sold my clubs to Crunch, and I said if I was ever going to get back in fitness, I was going to go completely the other direction, right? Mm-hmm. Go the extreme, and I really feel like D1 is that kind of extreme. It's the antithesis of of the big box.
Right.
Right. And prior to, things happening last year, 85% of our members had a membership to a big box gym, right? But they came to us for their specific goal, orientation, and to get after it.
Mm-hmm.
And so our goal was always to be at over $200 per member in terms of services in addition to membership.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we've pushed, right? So we're at about 450 members now. And we're doing a little over 60,000 in ancillary revenue, right? So training revenue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's really what helps push you over the edge.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't pay a lot of attention to ancillary sales. They see it as like a bonus, but it's a very important stream. It usually carries the best margins. In the world of a franchise especially, but let's take out of fitness for a second. McDonald's, I can't remember the exact margin, but I think they either take a loss or it's very small percentages on most of their burgers, where they make most of the margins on the fries, the sodas, the shake, right, and the desserts and stuff like that, the ice cream. So would you like fries with that? It's a very important question.
Oh, yeah.
And they've tested 6 different ways. I read through I think this is the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. And they talked about McDonald's. They tested 6 different ways across thousands of locations to see which one converts the most into fries being added to the meal. And then Biggie size came in and all those other things. So for you, ancillary sales, you've realized that this isn't a bonus. This is probably even more important than the recurring revenue. The recurring revenue is the entry to really where the real money is.
Yep.